Hello everybody. In this video, we'll try to understand what happens when retrograde Jupiter is present in the third house for Sagittarius ascendant. So this is one of the questions asked by one of the subscribers of this channel. So this is one of the important placements in Vedic astrology. Because if you observe, the third house is a representation of your self expression. By your self expression, people would feel you that way. The way you express yourself actually it decides how others should feel about you, right? So that's why the self expression is very much important. And that too, if you observe this placement, the ascendant lord itself is present in the third house, and also the ascendant lord is Jupiter, and it is in retrograde motion. And the third house is also the representation of your courage, your communication. So basically, if you observe, the ascendant is Sagittarius. So the moment you say Sagittarius, you can feel the energy, that is, it's ruled by Jupiter. It's the planet of wisdom, truth, expansion, and dharma. So basically, as your ascendant is Sagittarius, we can say you're philosophical, you're idealistic, you have, you're visionary, basically, you're truth seeking in everything that you do in your life. You are a truth seeking personality. That is the fundamental behavior of Sagittarius energy, and that is your ascendant. So you have these qualities. And what about the third house? The third house here is Aquarius for Sagittarius ascendant. It is Aquarius. We say it's Kumbha, right? So it's ruled by Saturn. So Saturn placement would also be important. But here we're only talking about the retro Jupiter in this Aquarius sign. But how it is going to be nourished, how much it is going to be nourished, is decided by the placement of Saturn, because Saturn is the planet which has the responsibility to nourish this particular sign, Kumbha, that is Aquarius. So as it is in the third house is the house of communication, courage, your efforts. So whenever the ascendant lord itself is present in the third house, you can, without thinking, you can say the person is going to improve in his life based on his self efforts. So it means, see, maybe there are some other people who would be helping you uh, in your improvement, but you can get more improvement through self efforts. That is the most important thing. And third house also talks about your siblings, and I will come to that. And it also decides your short distance travels, your writing power. And definitely you would have some writing power because your ascendant lord itself is present in the third house. But of course, your communication, your self expression, so those things, because the Jupiter is also in retrograde motion. And I will also quote what famous texts like Brihadarashara, Jataka Parijata, Faladipika, these things, what they commonly told about this particular placement. They actually, not commonly, they talked about this placement in one single pattern only. The pattern is very similar. I will try to talk about that as well. So your willpower, definitely your ascendant lord is in the third house, so your willpower is a bit higher compared to others, because your ascendant lord itself is present in the third house. Third house is the representation of your willpower as well. Now here the Jupiter is in retrograde motion in the third house. That means the expression, your expression matters here, right? So your teacher or your wisdom turns inward. So instead of expressing wisdom easily to the world, the person internalizes it, and the person contemplates it deeply and may take time to express truth outwardly. That is the fundamental energy. And I will try to explain it. I will try to elaborate it. So basically, what is the Jupiter's strength and behavior in the third house here? Here, Jupiter rules both the first house and also the fourth house. Fourth house is also very much important here because that decides your inner peace and your home. But of course, if the planets present in the fourth house, if there are planets, they decide more here, and only this particular Jupiter would nourish that particular fourth house. But your Jupiter here can also decide inner peace and home, and then it is sitting in the third house. That's your effort, so it brings your inner philosophy into communication and expression for sure. So you're philosophical for sure because you're Sagittarius ascendant, and your inner philosophy into communication and expression uh, is very much important in your life. But it is in the retrograde motion, so it acts as an introverted teacher. You're basically an introverted personality, and you are a teacher. By default, you are a teacher. Of course, you might be doing some other job, or based on your 10th lord influence, that's Mercury. So based on that, you would be in some other field these days. But definitely, by nature, you are an introverted teacher. By seeing this placement, any astrologer can tell you are an introverted teacher. So you can just imagine a wise monk who wants to preach truth to the world, but before speaking, what he is doing is he is going into a cave and contemplates it deeply. Why I'm saying going into the cave? Because means the person wants to think deeply. So in order to keep that in the sense, so I'm telling, the monk is also going to a cave and contemplates it very very deeply. When he finally speaks, his words are fewer, but you can see the power in the words. So basically, you are an expert. You can be an expert at, let us say there is a lot of concept present, right? That may be in 20 lines or 30 lines, but you are very good at making it one or two lines, right? This is the placement that is giving you that energy, so you're able to express very very uniquely. That is one of the important things to observe here. But I want to tell you, of course, you would have some kind of self expression and communication skills. But one thing, as retro Jupiter is present in the third house, if you improve your communication skills, I am talking about, uh, means you have to improve them by 100%. So by nature you have some communication skills, but that is okay. That is a kind of teaching skill, or you are an introverted teacher. These are all fine. But if you improve your communication skills, that is a kind of difficult thing for you, because the Jupiter is in retro motion. It's a kind of difficult thing, but if you improve it by 100%, you would achieve a lot of great things in your life, especially in your career. I can tell you, right? So that's something like you have deep wisdom that takes time to express. You would be thinking you're expressing it nicely, but that needs more and more improvement. If that improvement is finished, if you're able to do it, then yes, you can gain a lot of opportunities in your life. That's a big barrier for you. And then Jupiter here makes you a thoughtful communicator. So you analyze everything before speaking. So there may be hesitation or overthinking, right, before taking initiatives in your life. That overthinking aspect is always present because Jupiter is much more intensified here. So especially in early in your life, you might be an overthinking person. But that's a kind of good thing when you analyze the things. But if you overanalyze, it may take more time for you, and then you may lose some opportunities also, right? So you need to plan a lot. You need to make things faster. right? So you may prefer writing or or planning in solitude rather than kind of aggressive actions in some of the aspects of your life. But of course, if I want to comment more about your aggression, I need to check your Mars position. If your Mars is afflicted and if it is in conjunction with Rahu, let us say, right, then of course Rahu Mars will give you a lot of aggression. That's going to hurt the people around you as well. But I need to check your Mars position. I'm just giving an example. But you are a good writer, you have some writing skills, that I can tell you. So with that, you can start a spiritual journal, because by default you have some spirituality inside and you're good at writing. Of course, those things you may need to improve by some kind of training and coaching that will complete it by 100%. But fundamentally you have that seed within you, I want to tell you that, right? So if you are undergoing through some training or some kind of coaching about this writing skills and also improving the communication skills, that may give you huge success, because your Jupiter is not in forward motion, it is in retrograde motion, so it is a bit intensified. So I can say you can get some huge success with this writing skills as well, right? But if you have to approach a guru about this writing skills, that can be cinematic writing or kind of poetic writing, or you might be writing some stories, right? So but you need some improvement, definitely. And one more important thing is the relationship with your siblings. Of course, you like to guide your younger siblings if you have any. You like to guide the younger people around you. You like to guide your juniors. That is a kind of good thing. But I observed with this placement, a lot of people have separation from their elder siblings, right? A kind of distance they maintain, and or they may not get much happiness from their elder siblings. That's a kind of right. You might be liking your siblings, that I'm not talking about that, but how much you're getting in return is a kind of it's a kind of mixed thing, I want to tell you. So even you might be having some philosophical differences with your siblings as well, because of some karmic debts, because Jupiter in third house is a kind of karmic debt. It is treated as a Jupiter in the third house, whether it is retrograde, forward motion, it is a kind of karmic debt. So you have to complete the debt. It's something like, even in Jupiter Antardasha, it would be giving you kind of, it would be a kind of not a very great period, but it's a kind of solution giving period for you. Before Jupiter Antardasha, you might be having some difficulty period based on the planet. uh, uh, you know that's So before that, you might be having some Rahu Antardasha. Rahu Antardasha, I need to talk about, I need to check your Rahu position, what kind of magnetic relationships you would have in your life, that kind of thing. But I would tell you, Jupiter can give you some solutions in its Antardasha. That's not a very, I cannot say it's a great period, but it's a mixed period. But still, it is going to give you some solutions, and it is going to ensure some short distance traveling as well. So you are fundamentally, by nature, you can play a role of teacher or guide to your siblings and the younger people around you, right? Kind of how Krishna giving some kind of energy to Arjuna through teachings. So such an energy you can give to others if you focus on that area. By nature also, you can give the guidance. And there's a lot of spiritual significance for this position, this retrograde Jupiter in the third house, that too for Sagittarius ascendant. This you can find this kind of thing in so much of astrological literature. Has a spiritual significance. It's Jupiter being retrograde in the third house makes a kind of, it's a your spirituality is courageous, right? So rather than just physical, so you fight a kind of mental battle in your head, about some philosophies, not the physical battles I'm talking about, the mental battle, I can say. So the courage that you have in your life, it's a spiritual courage, I would tell you, the philosophical courage. So you may be guided by your own intuitive messages, especially during the period at 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, the kind of thoughts you get. Basically, universe sends those messages to you. So kind of the message is also kind of very faster, you know. It's intuitive messages, you can feel them as intuitive messages, but universe is sending them in terms of dreams also, or inner voices. These are the possibilities, because there's a spiritual significance for this position, especially in the sign of Aquarius. And if this retrograde Jupiter is present in the third house in the Aquarius, especially if it is present in the Purva Bhadrapada nakshatra, that's going to be much more intensified, this kind of intuitive messages, especially at the time of 4 to 6. If you're not wake up the time, that is okay. If you're waking up the time, you're the kind of messages that you get are very faster. This kind of behavior you can observe especially at your young age, right? So that's very intuitive, but it is sent by the universe, because Aquarius being a sign of universal knowledge and innovation, right? And this retro Jupiter, this Jupiter is yourself, because you're Sagittarius ascendant. So I can see Aquarius as a kind of universal knowledge and innovation. That's why you get those intuitive messages, dreams, or inner voices. So if you observe famous texts like Bruhat Parashara, Horasastra, or there are some texts like Phaladipika, Jataka Parijata, they generally say only some of the important things. That's one thing they commonly tell is the native would be devoid of happiness from brothers, right? So that is one thing, is a kind of a bit negative, but you might be liking your brothers because your Jupiter yourself is in the third house, and then you will be very brave, and but your happiness, your emotional happiness, it fluctuates, and that is a one important thing that you have in your horoscope. So basically, Brihat Parashara Horashastra, which is famously called as BPHS, it clearly says when Jupiter is in the third house, it makes one devoid of happiness from brothers, and the native will be very brave and successful through own efforts. So no doubt you will be successful through your own efforts. And even if you observe Phaladipika, which is written by Mantreshwara, even there it is clearly mentioned a person with Jupiter in the third house is a learned person, is a wise person, is capable of reasoning, but he may lack happiness from brothers and show more success through self efforts. That is written in Phaladipika. And if you observe Jataka Parijata, it also clearly mentioned when Jupiter occupies the third house, the native's courage is guided by wisdom, and he achieves fame later in life through writing or spiritual service, and the native would be devoid of happiness from own brothers. So this is the important thing. So these are the famous texts about this particular placement, and even it doesn't matter if your Jupiter is retro or forward motion, these results you can see. And what I'm talking about, the famous texts. The famous text results are immaterial, or whether your Jupiter is in forward motion or it's in retrograde. And one important thing I want to tell you is when it is retrograde, the results would be intensified. So you need to put some extra efforts if you want to reduce the distance between you and your brothers. So that is one important thing. And so Aquarius is ruled by Saturn and also co-ruled by Rahu. So you need to check the placement of Saturn and Rahu also in your horoscope, how much to know how much nourishment you're getting. It basically represents your innovation, logic, social causes, and the collective mind that you have also. And Jupiter definitely gives you spiritual wisdom, no doubt about it. That spiritual wisdom, as you have that spiritual wisdom and that you have in Aquarius, you generally apply your spiritual wisdom to the technology, to the science, and even you think of some social reforms, because it's your physical body, because your thoughts, because it's your ascendant lord basically. So even you may think so many things about social reforms, but you may not be expressing them, but sometimes you might be expressing them in writing. But if you want to see the result, you may need to put some extra efforts. So how much extra efforts you would put on this can be decided by your Saturn position and of course the Mars dignity as well. So fundamentally, if you just see this energy, so you're drawn to teaching, writing, or guiding people through some ideas, or by learning something from some books, and you're repeating the same thing to the people around you. So that is the fundamental behavior, I can say. The communication, courage, the siblings, and the expression. These are all going to be impacted by this position, and you are that. So you are basically you're seen as a teacher from the outside world as well. So generally, if you want to get some remedies, this is a kind of mixed position. You cannot say this is an extraordinary position, and at the same time you cannot say this is a very bad position. It's a kind of mixed position. But if you want to improve it, definitely you need to chant Guru Mantra 108 times. Better you do it on Thursday alone. That's good enough, right? Because it's your Jupiter, so it's going to improve as time passes by. But still, if you want to see its positive impact in the early days of life, it's a kind of mixed things. The Jupiter Antardasha especially gives some kind of mixed things. But still, if you want to see something better, definitely you need to chant Guru Mantra, the Jupiter mantra, every day 108 times. Is, of course, it's generally recommended if somebody has a malefic Jupiter somewhere in the horoscope. But Jupiter itself is your ascendant lord, so generally generally people advise you to do it at least on Thursdays 108 times. So that's the only thing that you need to do, right? So other than that, this is a kind of fine placement. So not an extraordinary placement, but at the same time not a very bad placement. So Jupiter feels a kind of neutrality in Aquarius. It's not a very positive thing, not a negative thing at all. Your life path, communication, your siblings, your strength, right? So these are all the important things when you consider this. And definitely I can tell you, you will get success in your life through your self efforts for sure, right? So that's it. Now I can tell you with some more with one more important thing. You just imagine a candle inside a lantern. If you see a lantern, the glass one, inside it, let us say you see a candle. So Jupiter wisdom is the flame that the candle has, but as it is in the retrograde motion, so the glass is actually the glass cover, you know reflects the light inside first. Instead of reflecting it outside, it is going to reflect inside. So what you need to do is here, so the glass is doing, it is reflecting the light inside, but it is not reflecting much outside. So you need to clean that glass. So how can you clean your your so another remedy I want to tell you, you just check your self expression, the communication. I'm telling, I told you in the beginning of this video also, your communication is unique. Of course you can be able to put the 20 lines of thing, you can explain that in two three lines for the outsiders, for the people around you. That's one unique quality. But your communication is not enough. I want to tell you, your communication is not enough to get success in whatever career you have chosen. If you want to get more success in your career, the only thing is, whether you like it or not, your communication skills should be improved. You might not want to focus on it because you're already have, your mind already is into this kind of uh, it always says, I know so many things, I know. Sometimes it may say I know everything, especially in the early days of life. But still, focus on your communication, focus on your self expression. You might be thinking you outside world is perceiving you as as a great teacher or somebody, it's okay kind of guy, but it's not enough. Your personality, the way people are perceiving you should be more effective. So I want to tell you, you need to work on these areas to get more success. The way you express the things should be much more improved than your communication. If your communication is very very freely flowing, then that is going to give you lot and lot of opportunities. So these are the areas of improvement for you. Chant Jupiter mantra. With the help with that, you can actually correct these things also. The way you communicate and your self expression, you know, because once it is made 100%, you were one of the topmost people in the industry that you're working in, right? So that I can see, because based on various horoscopes I studied, I'm telling all this. So thanks for watching this video.